beautiful souls, welcome to my channel, My Cup of Dreams. My name is May and I help you find your bliss. Making decisions, trusting my feelings to make decisions, that was something that used to scare the crap out of me. I would ask different opinions and then I would base my opinion on logic, never on my feelings, because to me my feelings weren't trustworthy. I didn't know how to trust myself. I felt that sometimes I felt very enthusiastic about something and sometimes I would feel like a lot of fear, and I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to trust myself. I grew up in a very loving family, but also a very strict family, in the sense that, well, my parents did give me some liberty, but they also pushed me in a certain direction that wasn't necessarily in line with who I was. I grew up with a certain set of principles, a certain set of rules I lived by, and I identified myself with that. For me, this made me who I was. And so it was somehow very difficult for me to grasp what the meaning of intuition. What does intuition mean? What does it mean to trust yourself? My entire life I have been very jealous of people who knew what they wanted, who just felt something and could trust that. And this is something that I've had to learn. This is something that I've had to work on for many years, and now I can happily say that I'm very much in tune with myself, and now I trust myself. And it's such a wonderful feeling because it makes you confident. It makes you, when you are the best version of yourself, it makes you just feel sure about the things that you do. Does it mean that you know what the outcome will be? Obviously not, but you trust that you make the best decision at this very moment, in these very circumstances. And I try to stay as close as possible to my feeling, to my soul. And today I would like to share with you what the things that I've learned to trust myself more. The first tip that I would like to share with you is monitoring your feelings. I think it's an easy one to share. I think it's easy to say trust your feelings. But what do I mean by really monitoring your feelings? It is in everything that I do, I try to take some distance from myself and monitor what I'm actually feeling. What is it that I'm feeling? Where is it? How is it moving in my body? What does it do to my body? Does it make me collapse? Does it make me feel smaller, or does it expand? Does it make me feel good? What type of feeling is it? It is important to know, it is important to understand your feelings, because oftentimes you feel something but you don't really know what it actually is. And the interesting thing to do is then to ask yourself where this feeling comes from. Is it, oftentimes it doesn't come from the situation you are currently in. Oftentimes it comes from a situation in the past. So I get very curious about my feelings. Every time now I have a strong reaction to something. When I get irritated or when I get defensive, I find it very interesting. So in the moment itself, I try to deal with it, but afterwards I would try to analyze it and understand better where it comes from, what it is. So tip number 2 I would like to share with you is detecting limiting beliefs, asking yourself where these beliefs come from. So after you've detected your feelings, it often comes from a belief that you have about yourself, or a belief you have about something that you have to do in life. I used to think, if I end this relationship, I will never find anyone again. I am over 30 years old. It's going to be too late. If I have to start over again, I'm not going to be able to have kids in time and get married, and it's all going to be ruined. That's ridiculous. But to me, it wasn't. And I had to look at myself from that objective point of view, and then where did that belief come from? And it came from the fact that I didn't want to disappoint my parents. And because of that, I stayed in a relationship that didn't necessarily make me happy. I wanted to get married so badly. And then I thought, why do I want to get married? Because I want to please my parents. But why would I want it for me? Would it make me happy? And then I thought about that relationship. And I thought about how my life would be after getting married. And I realized that if I am unhappy now, I will also be unhappy after the big day, if that were ever to come. Also, what I want to say about limiting beliefs is that what is a limiting belief and how do you actually detect it? Well, you actually have to follow your feelings, and then when you start to analyze things, you start to notice, okay, there's a limiting belief there. And what a limiting belief does to you is actually, it's an invisible cage in your mind. It's limiting you from going forward. It's limiting you from reaching for the goals that you want, from obtaining what you want in life. It keeps you exactly there. And it's a real cage. And there are many limiting beliefs. There are some that you are that you know of, that you are conscious of. And a lot of beliefs are unconscious, are in your subconscious mind. And you will only detect them when you are having a certain reaction on your emotions, and you will only detect them when you start to analyze those emotions. Tip number 3 is doing shadow work. Shadow work would be, well, it's the third thing that you can do in this situation when you are analyzing your feelings and your emotions, and that you look back at where it comes from, when it was the first time that you had experienced it. You were a child and you were in deep pain. And doing shadow work means that you are going back and experiencing it as the child, but you could also, you then take some distance from it and see it from a third person point of view, so that you can help that child, so that you can give that child what it needs in order for it to feel better. And I have done that myself. I will do a separate video on that. I have done that myself, and it has shifted my reality completely. I have cried so much doing that, and it was life-changing, and I can only recommend it to you. Tip number 4, meditate. Most successful people will say that they meditate every single day, and I can't tell you enough how big of a difference it has made for me. I am more of a visualization person, so I like guided meditation. I'm not really the type to sit there and push my thoughts away. I like to be aware of the thoughts that I have, and I like to guide myself to a certain direction. I started off with guided meditation on YouTube, but then nowadays I guide myself through my meditation. At some point I also did the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani, and he goes through different parts. He goes through the feeling of love, if I'm not mistaken. And then we go through gratefulness and then forgiveness, what my future vision is, and then what my perfect day would be. And we then end with how to bless your day. And that meditation has really helped me a lot to, set up my day for success, to start off my day with a good feeling. And I really think that when you do that, the more you do it, the more you will realize that you get very, very much in touch with yourself. Tip number 5, follow your bliss. Follow your bliss means do every single day something that brings you deep joy and fulfillment, that gives you purpose, that gives you energy. Because it brings you closer to who you are. It brings you closer to yourself. I used to have issues with the phrase, just be yourself. I didn't know how to be myself because I was such a people pleaser. I adapted myself in every single circumstance. When I thought I was at work, I have to act like a professional, so I acted like the person I thought I had to be. And there were things about myself that I pushed down, that I suppressed. And I was continuously dreaming about doing something. I always have like this urge to create. I have this urge to make paintings, to make drawings, to be creative. And I continuously have ideas. So when you also have ideas, act upon that. Allow yourself to do something that brings you true joy and true bliss, because that brings you closer to yourself. That aligns you with your soul. Tip number 6. Whenever you're making a decision, notice how easy it is to know what you don't want. Usually, the decision is between you desiring something and you fearing it at the same time, fearing the outcome, fearing the reaction of the people around you. And to me, this actually means that you actually know what you want. And it's all about working out those fears. It's all about facing those fears, embracing it, accepting those fears, looking at it from a different point of view, looking at it as if really seeing what is the worst case scenario, what could happen, what is the worst thing that could happen to me if I were to do what I want. And if it's a situation, and if it happens to you, what would you do? What would be the steps that you take to get over it, to get over those issues? And if I can't do it like this, are there any other ways that I can do to obtain what I want? Because at the end of the day, we want to truly be happy. We want to find true bliss. And we want to be able to share that joy with everyone. Fear is something that often holds us back. And it is very important to have fear because it protects us, because it allows us to exist. It helps us everywhere we go. It makes sure that we are safe. But it's not supposed to hold you back to do something extraordinary, to be your extraordinary self, to be the best version that you can be. And you have to talk to that fear. You have to, well, I feel like it helped me to talk to that fear. It helped me to communicate with the fear and tell it, you're right, I should be scared of that. How about I do it like this? How about I do it like this? What about this strategy? I try to argue with it, and it works. Tip number 7, journal. When you are analyzing your feelings, it is so incredibly important to write it down. When I started to journal about my feelings, I noticed how how fast I evolved, how fast my reality shifted, how fast I became this better version of myself. And it feels so good to read back and to see where I was in the past and how I have changed for the better, how it has changed my relationship with others, how it has made me a stronger person, how it has made me someone who is in tune with myself. And I can't recommend it enough. Journal. Tip number 8. Stop asking for validation. We ask for validation because we want to be accepted by our community. We want to be accepted by our parents. Except that I love my parents so much, but they don't know what's inside my mind. They don't know how I feel about certain things. And by asking them validation, they will work from their point of view, from their experience. And sometimes it's discouraging. And even though I value their opinion, I think it's important to not pressure people to give them their validation. Recently, I had this epiphany on this topic. In a conversation, my friend said to me, you know, I feel like you're struggling with your fear making YouTube videos, because of course, I'm a human being and I am scared of being judged. I'm scared of the things of being judged by my own surroundings. I'm scared of being judged by the people around me. And my friend said, well, if it's too hard of a struggle, why don't you just need to acknowledge that and not do it. And that made me feel crappy. And I was resisting it. I was pushing against it. No, I'm not struggling. I know I'm fearing, but I'm not struggling. I love making YouTube videos. But then afterwards, I considered it again, and I had to admit she was right. I wanted to stop resisting the fear. I let it come to me, and I had to admit I was struggling. But then I realized I'm making these videos because I love sharing what I know, because I've always, ever before I had this channel, I was continuously mentally making videos, and it makes me happy to share my opinion with everyone. And even if they would judge me, even if they would see me differently, this is me. This is me being my best self, and it makes me happy, and that's the only thing that counts. As long as I don't hurt anyone, I think that it's important to follow our bliss, and that's what I've realized. And so I think that it's important to, for some time, stop asking for validation and start to just focus on ourselves. Now, there are different ways that we can have trust in ourselves. We can be confident about different topics, but not about everything. For me, my greatest challenge would be to trust in the person of myself, in trusting the person that I am. And it's a continuous process. It's not something, oh, I gain confidence, now I'm confident and I can be myself and it's going to stay that way. It's not like that. You are continuously facing situations in life. You are continuously getting yourself into uncomfortable positions. That is, if you want to grow, that's life. And it's a continuous process to continue do the shadow work, to continue journaling, to continue processing and analyzing your feelings. So it's a continuous practice. For me, I meditate every single day. I journal every other day, or it depends if I have like emotions that are coming up, I would write about it. So I try to be conscious about it every single day. Anyhow, I hope that these tips will help you to have more trust in yourself. Know that there is a lot to uncover about you. There are hidden treasures within you that are waiting to be uncovered. And it's a really, really exciting journey. I can tell you that. So don't be afraid, and start analyzing those feelings of yours and trust yourself. Have a lovely week, and show yourself some love because you truly deserve it. Bye.